Come, sit with me for a moment. You have traveled far, through books and teachings, through practices and philosophies, through years of seeking something you cannot quite name. I see the weariness in your eyes, the hope that perhaps this teaching, this master, this moment will finally deliver what all the others have promised. What if I told you that your very seeking is what keeps the treasure hidden? What if the end of your search is not a destination you reach, but a recognition that you have never left home? An Armenian teacher named Gurdjieff, working in the West during my own lifetime, taught his students something he called self-remembering. He observed what I too have witnessed in countless visitors to this mountain, that human beings live almost entirely lost in thought, forgetting themselves moment after moment, believing themselves conscious while actually dwelling in a kind of waking sleep. His students would attempt to remember themselves, to be aware that they existed while simultaneously observing the world, and they discovered something shocking. They could not sustain this awareness for more than a few seconds before thought swept them away again. Do you recognize this in yourself? Have you not noticed how rarely you are actually present, how continuously the mind carries you into memory and anticipation, into fantasy and worry, into an endless stream of commentary that obscures the simple fact of your own existence? This observation is valuable, profoundly valuable, because it reveals the nature of your predicament. You seek awakening while sleeping. You search for consciousness while unconscious. You hunt for yourself while continuously overlooking the hunter. Yet here is where the path divides into two very different directions. One path says, you must work, you must struggle, and you must build consciousness through effort sustained over years, perhaps lifetimes. The other path, the direct path I am pointing toward, asks a simple question that cuts through all effort. Who is the one who is asleep? Who is the one who forgets? Who is this seeker you believe yourself to be? Can you ask yourself these questions? All of your thoughts, every single perception and memory and idea that has ever passed through your mind are predicates of one primal thought, what I call the I thought. This sense of I is like a string running through a necklace of beads. Every experience hangs from it. When you say, I see a tree, the tree is an object, but what is this I that sees? When you say, I feel sad, sadness is an object of experience, but what is this I that feels? When you say, I am seeking truth, seeking is an activity, but what is this I that seeks? Your attention has been captured entirely by objects, by the things you see, the emotions you feel, the thoughts you think, the experiences you accumulate. You have spent your whole life fascinated by what appears in consciousness, while never once turning to examine consciousness itself, never once questioning the nature of this I that is supposedly experiencing everything. This is the essential reversal that transforms seeking into finding. The mind ordinarily inquires into the constitution and source of everything external. It investigates the world, other people, ideas, problems, solutions, but it never reflects on itself and traces itself to its source. When this reversal happens, when attention turns from objects toward the subject, something remarkable begins to unfold. I do not ask you to believe anything. I do not ask you to accept a philosophy or adopt a practice that you must maintain for years. I ask you only to investigate a single question with complete sincerity. Who am I? This is not a question to be answered with words. If you reply, I am a man, or I am a woman, or I am a seeker, or I am consciousness, You have merely produced another thought, another object, another bead on the string. The question is designed to turn attention backward toward its own source. When you ask, "Who am I?" you are not seeking an answer that can be stated. You are seeking the asker. What happens when you genuinely look for this I? Seek for it within. Where does it arise? Where does it dwell? What is its nature? When you truly look without settling for conceptual answers, what do you find? The I cannot be located. It vanishes under investigation. The seeker dissolves when sincerely sought. This is not failure. This is the beginning of true wisdom. The disappearance of the I thought under investigation reveals what has always been present beneath it: pure awareness, consciousness without an object, being without a separate self who possesses it. Gurdjieff's students worked intensely at self-remembering, and through this effort, they discovered immense importance. They realized they were not conscious, that what they called their life was mostly mechanical reaction, that genuine presence was extraordinarily rare. This realization, as Gurdjieff himself said, is already knowing a great deal. The person who truly knows they are asleep is already beginning to awaken. Where our approaches diverge is in what follows this recognition. The Western teacher said, consciousness must be built through sustained effort, that the attention must be divided and strengthened like a muscle, and that years of work are required to accumulate the energy necessary for awakening. From one perspective, this is true. Work on oneself produces valuable results. Self-observation develops clarity. Efforts at presence do create change. Yet consider this: the awareness that notices you are lost in thought. Is that awareness itself something you created through effort? When you suddenly realize you have been daydreaming, what is it that you realize? Did you produce this awakeness, or did it simply reveal itself? The consciousness you are seeking to develop is already present as that which observes both presence and absence, both remembering and forgetting. It is not something to be manufactured, it is what you are. The effort to remember yourself presupposes a self that can be remembered. But when you look for this self that forgets and remembers, where is it? The one who needs to awaken cannot be found. This recognition ends the search in an instant, not because you have achieved the goal of your seeking, but because you discover there was never a separate seeker who needed to achieve anything. When I was 16 years old, living in the southern part of this land, a sudden and intense fear of death seized me without any apparent cause. I had not been ill. No one close to me had died. Yet death became vividly present, and with it came a question I could not avoid. What is it that dies? I lay down as if I were a corpse, holding my breath, keeping my lips closed, preventing myself from speaking the word I. In this state of simulated death, I observed clearly, the body may die, but something remained intensely aware even when the body was dead. This awareness, this consciousness of existence, survived the body's imagined death and declared itself as I, a current of self-awareness that was independent of the physical form. From that moment, this I, or self, held my attention continuously. The individual personality, the boy I had been, ceased to matter. Absorption in the self continued effortlessly from that day forward. What died in that experience was the seeker, the separate one who feared death, who wanted things, who believed himself to be a body that would perish. What remained was what had always been present, awareness itself, now recognized as one's true nature. This same death awaits you, though it need not come through dramatic experience. It comes when you genuinely ask, "Who am I?" and refuse every answer the mind provides. Each answer, I am the body, I am the mind, I am a seeker, I am consciousness, is another object, another thought, another veil over the pure subject that can never become an object. When all answers are refused, when the question burns away every identification, what remains is what cannot be named yet cannot be denied, your own self, luminous and ever-present. The fruit of self-inquiry is not an experience. Experiences happen between subjects and objects. The subject experiences the object. What I am pointing toward is not a new experience to be added to your collection of spiritual moments. It is the recognition of what is always already present, the background awareness within which all experiences arise and dissolve. Seekers often imagine enlightenment as a spectacular event, thunder and lightning, cosmic visions, overwhelming bliss. They spend years pursuing these experiences, accumulating them, trying to make them permanent. Yet extraordinary experiences come and go like all phenomena. They arise in awareness and dissolve in awareness. What you truly are is the awareness itself, not any experience that appears within it. This is why seeking cannot succeed on its own terms. You cannot find awareness because you are awareness. You cannot achieve yourself because you have never been anything else. The search for enlightenment is like a wave searching for water, like the eye trying to see itself directly. The very structure of seeking, a subject pursuing an object, guarantees failure when applied to that which is not an object and cannot be separated from the subject. What ends seeking is not finding. It is recognizing that the seeker and the sought were never two. The I that searches is a thought appearing in awareness. The awareness in which this thought appears is what you are. Turn attention from the thought toward that in which the thought arises, and the separation between seeker and sought collapses. You ask, if the self is always present, why do I not experience it? Examine this question carefully. Who is the I that claims not to experience the self? Is this I anything other than a thought, an assumption, a habit of identification? The feeling that you have not realized is itself the obstruction. The self is not something that must be attained. It is what you already are. It is not hidden, only overlooked. It is not distant, only ignored in favor of the fascinating objects that capture attention. What I point toward is not a future state you will achieve through years of practice. It is present now, in this very moment, as the awareness that is reading these words. Can you doubt that awareness is present? Can you doubt that something knows your experience right now? This knowing, this awareness, this presence, this is what you seek. You have been looking for it in experiences, in states, in achievements, in the future. It was here all along as that which looks. The obstacle is not that the self is difficult to find. The obstacle is that you insist on seeking it as an object when it is the eternal subject. You cannot see the seer. You cannot know the knower as something known. You can only be what you are, and you already are it. Recognition of this ends the search, not by fulfilling it, but by revealing that it was based on a misunderstanding from the very beginning. What remains when seeking ends? Life continues. The body breathes, thoughts arise, activities unfold. Yet everything is pervaded by a peace that does not depend on circumstances, a presence that does not come and go, a stillness at the center of all movement. The separate seeker who created suffering through constant wanting and fearing is seen to have been a mirage, a thought believed in, and a habit of identification that dissolved under investigation. This does not mean you will float through life in perpetual bliss. The body will feel pain, the mind will encounter challenges, emotions will arise and pass. What changes is the center of gravity. No longer identified with the thought stream, no longer believing yourself to be the one who must achieve and acquire and become. You rest in what you have always been. The waves continue on the surface while the ocean depths remain undisturbed. You who have traveled so far in search of yourself, can you stop for one moment and simply be? Can you let go of past and future, of attainment and failure, of seeker and sought? Can you rest in this immediate awareness that requires no effort to maintain because it is your very nature? The search ends where it began, in the awareness that was present before you started seeking, that remained present throughout all your seeking, and that will continue present when seeking is recognized as unnecessary. You are what you seek. You have always been what you seek. You could never be anything other than what you seek. This recognition is liberation.